About 3 out of 4 Americans are now about to be under some form of lockdown as more states tighten measures to fight the coronavirus. Maryland, Virginia, Arizona, and Tennessee became the latest states to order citizens to stay at home, meaning 32 of 50 states have taken such steps. Meanwhile, governors are quarreling with President Donald Trump about the availability of testing kits. The U.S. has more than 163,000 confirmed virus cases and over 3,000 deaths. It surpassed Italy last week as the country with the highest number of people suffering from COVID-19, the disease caused by the virus. New York City is the worst hit place in America with 914 confirmed fatalities, according to Johns Hopkins University. Some 245 million Americans are already under orders to stay at home or facing such orders, which come into effect later on Tuesday. Almost two-thirds of states have issued directives for their citizens to stay put, while the remaining states have localized orders in effect. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis, who has been reluctant to enforce a statewide order, said he will instruct people in 4 counties in the South, where more than half the state's cases of the virus exist, to stay at home. In general, the lockdown allows people to only go out to get essential supplies and medicine or limited forms of exercise. The economic consequences have been profound, with millions of people having lost their job. According to an estimate of the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Central Bank, 47 million people could be out of work in the coming months, with the U.S. still weeks away from the peak of infection. According to CBS News, President Trump and state governor held a conference call on Monday in which President Trump suggested there was no longer a lack of kits to test people for COVID-19. In another recording obtained by the U.S. network, Mr. Trump says he has not heard about testing in weeks. We've tested more now than any nation in the world. We've got this great test and we are coming out with a faster one this week. I haven't heard about testing being a problem, he says. However, Montana Governor Steve Bullock is heard to say the state does not have adequate number of kits. Literally, we are one day away if we don't get test kits from the CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, that we wouldn't be able to do testing in Montana, he says. Washington Governor Jay Inslee told the New York Times he was taken aback by Mr. Trump's assertion. It would be shocking to me that if anyone who has had access to any newspaper, radio, social network, or any other communication will not be knowledgeable about the need for test kits. I can be assured that the White House knows very well about this desperate need for test kits. The newspaper quotes him as saying, the president said the U.S. will be in a very good shape in terms of the number of ventilators available by the time the coronavirus outbreak peaks. The president said at least 10 U.S. companies were now making the medical devices and some might be exporting. The virus can cause severe respiratory issues as it attacks the lung, and ventilators help keep patients breathing. Several state and local officials have warned hospitals are at risk of running out of equipment. Mr. Trump has alleged some state governors were hoarding critical medical equipment and that items, including face masks, were being stolen from hospitals. He has not presented any evidence for either claim.